Judgment is a constant in human interaction. From the moment we take our first step into a room, people are forming opinions about our clothes, our tone, our choices, even the way we carry ourselves. We live in a world wired for comparison, and in that comparison, judgment is born. Trying to avoid it is like trying to live without breathing. It's impossible. The sooner we accept that judgment is unavoidable, the sooner we can stop wasting energy trying to win universal approval. The need to be liked by everyone is rooted in our survival instincts. Historically, acceptance from the group meant safety, protection, and resources. But in today's world, seeking constant approval only traps us in a cycle of self-doubt and hesitation. You might think that if you act perfectly, speak perfectly, and never step out of line, you can escape judgment. Yet even the most careful people are criticized. This reality shows us that approval is not earned by perfection. It's withheld or given based on others' perspectives, which are beyond our control. Think about the countless examples in history and everyday life where people who made a difference faced harsh criticism. Artists, leaders, entrepreneurs, all have faced skeptics, doubters, and even outright hostility. If they had waited for everyone to agree with them, their impact would have been lost forever. The truth is, those who stand out will always trigger opinions, both positive and negative. That's the price of visibility and authenticity. The alternative, hiding, may shield you from judgment, but it also shields you from living fully. When we accept judgment as part of life, it stops being a roadblock and becomes background noise. Just like you might hear traffic outside your window, but still carry on with your day, you can learn to acknowledge criticism without letting it dictate your actions. This doesn't mean ignoring feedback entirely. It means knowing the difference between constructive advice and baseless judgment. The former can help you grow. The latter is simply a reflection of someone else's perspective, not your truth. Freedom begins when you realize you cannot control other people's opinions, but you can control how you respond to them. If you choose to shrink every time someone frowns at your choices, you hand them the steering wheel of your life. But if you keep moving despite the noise, you reclaim your power. Judgment is inevitable, but its impact on your path is optional. The more you accept its presence, the more space you create to focus on what actually matters: your purpose, your growth, and your truth. Your worth is not determined by the approval or disapproval of others. Too often, we let the voices around us shape the way we see ourselves as if their opinions carry the ultimate truth. But self-worth is an internal truth, not an external measurement. People's perspectives are influenced by their own beliefs, experiences, and insecurities, which means they can't possibly see the entirety of who you are. When you understand that your value is rooted within you, the grip of external judgment begins to loosen. It's easy to believe that praise makes us worthy and criticism makes us unworthy, but that thinking is a trap. If your value rises and falls based on what others say, you'll always be at the mercy of their moods and perceptions. Imagine living on a roller coaster where your confidence climbs when people compliment you and crashes when they don't. True self-worth comes from knowing your strengths, accepting your flaws, and standing firm in your values regardless of outside noise. Stability in self-worth means you don't need constant validation to feel complete. Many people spend years molding themselves to fit what they believe will be accepted, only to lose sight of who they truly are. They choose careers, relationships, and lifestyles based on what will earn them approval, yet deep inside, they feel empty. This emptiness is the result of building a life on borrowed opinions rather than personal convictions. When you define your worth internally, you stop bending yourself to fit molds that were never meant for you. You begin to create a life that reflects your truth instead of someone else's expectations. Knowing your worth also means having boundaries. You stop giving everyone the authority to label you as enough or not enough. You become selective about whose feedback truly matters, seeking insight from those who know your heart, not from strangers who only see a fraction of your reality. This isn't arrogance, it's self-respect. It's recognizing that you are not a product to be rated, but a human being with intrinsic value that doesn't fluctuate with public opinion. Boundaries protect you from letting the wrong voices shape your identity. When you stand in the unshakable truth of your own worth, life feels different. Criticism doesn't hit as hard, and praise, while appreciated, doesn't define you. You are free to take risks, make mistakes, and grow without fear of losing your value in the process. People may misunderstand you, but their misunderstanding does not diminish your light. Your worth is not on trial every time you make a decision. It's constant, steady, and entirely yours to protect. People who judge you often see only a tiny fragment of your life, yet they act as if they know the whole story. They catch a glimpse of your actions, hear a snippet of your words, or observe a single moment, and from that, they form sweeping conclusions. This is the danger of limited understanding. It's shallow, incomplete, and often wrong. Their interpretation is filtered through their own biases and assumptions, which means it says more about them than it does about you. Letting such opinions define your reality is like navigating your life by looking through a keyhole. When someone judges you without knowing the full context, their assessment is not a reflection of your truth, but of their perspective. They don't know the struggles you've faced, the sacrifices you've made, or the intentions behind your choices. Yet, human nature often leans toward filling in the blanks with assumptions. These assumptions can be wildly inaccurate, turning a small piece of information into a distorted story. If you let these incomplete stories take root in your mind, they can lead you to doubt yourself unnecessarily. Consider how many times you've been misunderstood because someone lacked the patience or openness to ask for the whole picture. Perhaps you were labeled as careless when, in reality, you were managing a crisis they knew nothing about. Or maybe you were called selfish when you were simply protecting your boundaries. Without full understanding, people's labels are hollow. They are built on quick snapshots rather than a complete film of your life, and it is unfair to let them weigh heavily on your self-image. It's also important to remember that judgments based on limited understanding are not only inaccurate, but also inevitable. We live in a fast-paced world where people are quick to react and slow to listen. Many don't take the time to truly understand the deeper layers of another person's experiences. This is why it's dangerous to hand over the authority of your self-worth to public opinion. If you live by their shallow interpretations, you will constantly adjust yourself to please people who never really knew you to begin with. The healthiest response is to acknowledge that these judgments exist, but refuse to let them dictate your path. You can take constructive feedback seriously when it comes from people who see your full reality, but you don't need to give equal weight to casual assumptions. Understanding this difference helps you stand firm in your truth, even when others are determined to define you by the little they see. Their limited vision cannot capture the whole of who you are, and it should never be the compass you use to guide your life. Fear of judgment never truly disappears. It lingers in the background, whispering doubts and urging you to stay small. Many people wait for the day they will feel completely fearless before they take action, but that day rarely comes. Courage is not about erasing fear. It's about deciding to move forward while carrying it with you. It's the conscious choice to step into discomfort because what you're aiming for matters more than the fear that holds you back. Every act of bravery begins with a willingness to face uncertainty head on. Acting despite fear requires a shift in mindset. Instead of viewing fear as a warning to stop, you begin to see it as evidence that you are growing. Fear often signals that you are stepping into unfamiliar territory, stretching beyond your comfort zone, and confronting challenges that can help you evolve. By reframing fear this way, It becomes less of an enemy and more of a companion on your journey. The goal is not to eliminate it, but to move in harmony with it, using it as a signpost of meaningful progress. When you take action despite the fear of judgment, you begin to realize that the imagined reactions of others are often louder in your mind than in reality. We tend to overestimate how much people are paying attention and how deeply they care about our choices. In truth, most people are too focused on their own lives to scrutinize ours as harshly as we think. This realization alone can lift a significant weight off your shoulders and allow you to act with more freedom. The more you practice courage, the more resilient you become in the face of judgment. Each time you speak up, share your ideas, or make a bold move, you build a stronger foundation of confidence. You begin to trust your ability to navigate criticism, to recover from embarrassment, and to stay true to your values even when others disagree. This inner trust becomes your anchor, keeping you steady no matter how strong the waves of outside opinion may be. Ultimately, courage is a choice you make moment by moment. It is not a single leap, but a series of steps taken despite the voice of doubt in your head. You may still feel the sting of judgment or the pang of insecurity, but you refuse to let those feelings dictate your direction. By acting despite fear, you create a life that reflects your authenticity rather than one shaped by the expectations of others. And over time, the habit of choosing courage becomes second nature. Every time you choose to speak your truth, even when it's uncomfortable, you strengthen your inner resilience. It is like exercising a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. The first time you stand up for yourself, it might feel terrifying, and the weight of others' opinions may press heavily on you. But with each repetition, the pressure becomes easier to bear. You begin to realize that surviving judgment makes you braver for the next challenge. Resilience grows in the moments you refuse to hide who you are. When you express your ideas, share your feelings, or pursue your dreams openly, you prove to yourself that you can handle whatever reaction comes your way. This proof is powerful because it builds trust within yourself. You start to believe that you can navigate discomfort without losing your sense of self. This belief becomes the foundation for even greater acts of authenticity in the future. Speaking your truth repeatedly also teaches you discernment. You learn to separate helpful feedback from destructive criticism. Not all negative opinions are meant to tear you down. Some can actually guide you toward growth. But when you live authentically, you can evaluate criticism through the lens of your values rather than through fear. This allows you to grow without compromising who you are, creating a healthy balance between openness and self-protection. As your resilience builds, you notice that your need for constant approval diminishes. You no longer shape your choices solely to avoid disapproval. Instead, you focus on alignment, making decisions that match your principles, even if they invite disagreement. This shift is liberating because it means you are no longer controlled by the unpredictable tide of public opinion. You have built a steady inner anchor that keeps you grounded no matter the storm outside. The beauty of this process is that it compounds over time. Each act of authenticity reinforces your strength, making it harder for fear to take control. The moments when you once would have stayed silent become opportunities for you to step forward with confidence. And every time you do, you are not only building resilience for yourself, but also inspiring others to speak their truths. Your courage becomes contagious, showing the people around you that it is possible to face judgment and still remain whole. Approval is one of the most elusive goals a person can chase. No matter how hard you try to earn it, it shifts and changes depending on who you're dealing with. What pleases one person might disappoint another, leaving you caught in a constant cycle of adjusting yourself to meet ever-changing expectations. This pursuit can drain your energy and erode your sense of identity. The truth is, you will never achieve universal acceptance, and trying to do so only keeps you from living authentically. When you focus on pleasing everyone, you inevitably lose sight of what truly matters to you. Your priorities become shaped by external demands instead of internal convictions. This makes you reactive rather than intentional, always bending and reshaping yourself to fit someone else's mold. Over time, this habit can leave you feeling disconnected from your own values, unsure of who you are without others' approval. Living for approval means living a life that doesn't fully belong to you. The reality is that approval is a moving target because people's opinions are shaped by their moods, experiences, and personal biases. What they admire in you today might be what they criticize tomorrow. This inconsistency makes external validation unreliable as a foundation for your self-worth. When you accept this truth, you can stop chasing approval and start building your life around what is meaningful to you. The freedom that comes from this shift is profound and lasting. Instead of seeking approval, you can choose to seek alignment. Alignment means living in a way that matches your core values, your purpose, and your vision for your life. When your actions reflect what you truly believe, you gain a sense of peace that external validation can never provide. This doesn't mean you ignore feedback altogether. It means you filter it through the lens of your principles. You welcome insight that supports your growth, but you reject opinions that require you to compromise your authenticity. Focusing on alignment over approval allows you to take risks, pursue dreams, and make choices without being paralyzed by the fear of judgment. You understand that some people will support you, others will misunderstand you, and that's okay. Your goal is no longer to be liked by everyone, but to be true to yourself. When you live this way, you build a life that is steady, fulfilling, and deeply rooted in your own truth, regardless of whether or not everyone else agrees. Making an impact in the world requires risk, and risk often comes with judgment. Those who create change, challenge norms, or pursue bold ideas are inevitably going to face criticism. People may question your motives, doubt your abilities, or even try to dissuade you from following your path. This is not a sign that you are doing something wrong. It is a sign that you are stepping into significance. The willingness to accept criticism as part of the journey is what separates those who make a mark from those who remain invisible. Impact is rarely achieved by blending in or playing it safe. History is full of individuals who dared to defy expectations and, as a result, faced harsh scrutiny, yet it is precisely their courage to stand out that changed lives, communities, and even entire societies. Those who take the easy path of conformity may avoid judgment, but they also avoid greatness. The world remembers the bold, the persistent, and the authentic, not the cautious and unseen. Understanding that judgment is part of the price for impact can transform your perspective. When criticism arises, it is no longer a personal attack, but a natural consequence of doing something meaningful. You begin to see judgment as a signal that you are pushing boundaries and challenging comfort zones. This mindset shift allows you to act with intention, knowing that even negative feedback does not diminish the value of your efforts. In fact, it often validates that your actions are significant enough to provoke a reaction. Those who aim to make a difference understand that their vision will not resonate with everyone, and they stop trying to make it do so. They focus instead on the people and communities who align with their purpose, who share their values, and who can grow alongside them. By concentrating on meaningful connections rather than universal acceptance, they conserve energy and amplify their influence. This selective focus helps maintain clarity and momentum, allowing them to continue despite detractors or skeptics. Finally, embracing the reality that impact comes with judgment empowers you to act courageously and consistently. You learn to accept that discomfort, doubt, and criticism are inevitable companions on the road to meaningful achievement. Each step forward strengthens your resilience, sharpens your vision, and reinforces your commitment to your mission. The willingness to take risks, face scrutiny, And persist in alignment with your values is what allows you to leave a lasting mark on the world. Every decision to act boldly, despite judgment, brings you closer to realizing the full potential of your influence.